Everything we have to continue to work on it now. It's called James. I host this news every morning.
And a golden angel award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audiences, my dear fellow Americans. Especially, I call you, each of every single one of you, my fellow Americans, not for nothing, because it's a time we need to reunite as one. It is time we need to unite as one, not only to overcome the difficulties that the pandemic has brought us, but we all also need to fight as one against any wrongdoings. The Constitution gives you the right to protest, to say what you want to say, to express yourself. However, it doesn't, it shall not, it will not, shall not, it is ever did in history allow you to the right to burn, to break glasses, to hurt people, to flip off cars, to rob shops, to loot, right? So let's call things by their true names. Spade is spade, orange and orange, apple is apple. Let's start of the show. I believe my partner, Ken Hemming, Mr. Ken Hemming, my dear friend, would agree with you. Do you?
Spade is a spade. Yep. Call it as it is, and realize that there are some firm rules for civilization that people need to live in a civilized manner.
Exactly.
When you become uncivilized, there's a price to pay.
Like this morning said by Pope France,
Okay.
right, in his one morning prayers, saying that he denounces the looting.
Well, if he doesn't, he's not a pope.
Yeah. He denounces the looting. He called people to stop the violence. He called people to sit down to have an amicable and a peaceful resolution. That's what he did. And then on the other hand, he equally denounced police brutality. And he described in his own words about the death, sin, and the process of death of George Floyd.
Okay.
And he says, quote unquote, in his own word of description, it all happened due to the fact of one black American was nailed down to the ground with the knee of a police officer pressed upon his neck that caused him the ability to breathe. He kept on screaming, I can't breathe, please let go whatsoever, until he lost his last breath and died.
Okay.
And he said that part is the police brutality.
Okay, and I will also say, Jack, if the person that died had been a white guy, then none of these riots would have happened, because racism, the race card that is played has an agenda.
My dear friend Ken Hemming.
Yes.
That's exactly why they have a slogan. Why they have a slogan, Black Lives Matter.
That's not a good slogan. All lives
That is
matter.
a very good slogan.
It's not.
No.
It's a racist slogan, Jack.
You go ahead, tell me why it is a racist slogan.
Because it doesn't.
And I tell you why I do not think it's a racial slogan.
Every life matters equally, period. They're segregating the beautiful African American population apart from all others as being more important, their lives more important than anybody. All lives are equal. So I support 100%. All lives matter. It's that simple.
Very good.
I don't support the other.
In Chinese literature, there is a story talking about and a landlord and a what is it called? He's a poor guy. Anyway.
Okay, sure. Tenant.
his one of his slaves,
Oh, okay.
right?
Sure.
The slave owner and the slave.
Okay.
Put it that way.
Okay.
And one time, the slave owner asked the slave, "I have in my left hand money,
Okay.
in my right hand justice. What do you want?"
Okay.
And he said, "Of course, money." And the slave owner says, "Yeah, see, that's why you're a slave. You know nothing but money.
Yeah.
And you want nothing but money." You know what the slave said? People always need what they are lack of.
Well,
In my hand, money is the only thing I'm in lack of. I don't worry about justice. I need money. That's it.
well, then he'd be a looter.
No, that could be the answer.
That'd be a looter.
That could be the answer to the Black Lives Matter.
There is no answer to that phrase.
Now, number two, when discussing with me, never shift the ground. I beg you, I ask you, I beg you with
Yeah.
a bow, if I may.
Okay.
Please never shift ground. The ground being that a black man died on the spot. Never shift that ground. Be it black, be it red, be it green, be it yellow, be it whatever color, it's a human life that died on the ground.
And that's-
You tell me
Yeah.
that ground remain there, please.
Well, the ground remains there, and I will still say, if it would have, people die. Okay, if it was a white guy, this would be going on.
If I were a female, I will marry you. How about that?
Yeah.
And I'll give you 3 children.
see now
And 2 boys, 1 girl.
the real big tragedy.
How
Jack,
about that?
Jack,
Don't give me the if.
the
Don't
real-
give me the if.
listen.
Just stay on the ground, please,
Right.
my dear friend. Stay
okay.
on the ground. The ground is that a black guy died on the spot,
Yeah.
9.5 minutes with a knee on his neck that caused him incapability of breathing.
And the officer that did that will spend the rest of his life in prison. Okay, so that's justice. Now, what's injustice?
No.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. My first question answered.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Somebody goes to jail for the
Yeah.
rest of his life
I
or
think
her
so.
life.
Yeah,
All right. Number 2.
maybe paroled later. Who
Number
knows?
2. The fact some officers can blatantly, under the bright sunlight, practice some kind of protocols. You're telling me is an accident?
Well,
or it's a training of the book. It's a training of the protocol.
That's not true. That's not true at all. There is no training in any law enforcement force to kill somebody. Now, I don't think the cop.
If there is,
Well, there isn't.
If there
It's
is
simple.
nothing on the book, on the
Yeah.
protocol,
Yeah.
to treat a
course
Floyd
not.
that way,
Yeah.
I would say the officer dare not do it,
Well, I agree.
and dare not do it under the broad daylight.
He was a fool.
The fact is that they have it on the protocol that you can, at time whatsoever, while taking upper hands of somebody,
Well, Jack,
you can
yeah.
put your knee on the neck. That's a technique.
This guy, let me tell you, this cop made a very big mistake. I do not believe
No,
he intended.
it's not a mistake.
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's exactly.
He didn't
that's
intend
exactly
for him to
my
die.
second.
Yeah.
My second strategy.
Yeah.
I want to lead our discussion to. That was a training over a long time.
No.
And number 3, when you have a training of that kind over a long time, though, you're talking about culture, policing culture.
That's it. They do not
That's
have a
what's wrong.
culture.
That's
of
exactly what's wrong
brutality.
here.
They do not have a culture of brutality.
Okay, now,
Period.
let me tell you, from 1992, Rodney King was beaten 17 times. Was beaten
Yeah.
17 times by 4 cops
Right.
with a baton.
Right, and he was a very bad guy, but they overdid it, and then look
He
what
was
happened.
so bad that he needs to be punished on the street.
No, of course not.
Are you saying that?
No, I'm not, Jack.
And he was such a bad guy, he needs to be executed on the street.
He wasn't executed. He wasn't.
He was almost dying
Yeah.
with the 17 batons.
Well, there wasn't 17 batons, but it,
17 batons.
It wasn't
I
17.
counted.
No.
It was on record. Okay, go ahead, black and white.
Yeah.
We can check.
No, I don't want to. If you say he was
17
hit
batons.
17 times,
Okay.
there weren't 17 cops.
From then on,
Yeah.
you have later on, you have a Michael Brown case.
Let's not get into those other ones, since we totally disagree.
You have a George Zimmerman case.
George, Jack,
You
those
tell me-
were righteous.
Are you telling
They
me,
were
my dear
righteous.
brother,
Yes.
those are accidents?
they were not begun by any police officer.
Why don't we have some better accidents? Heroes rushing to a
Well, we
black
do.
man.
We do.
Rushing to a black man to save his or her life.
Jack, we have millions of those. They just don't get publicized. All that gets publicized is when the radical left wants to use race to cause a problem. Now, for example, when Rodney King's place, he said, why can't we just all get along?
I give you a philosophy, all right? I give you a philosophy. A society is like a human body. You and I are breathing like normal, right? Somewhere, somehow, we all carry cancer cells.
I've had my cancer, 8.5 hour operation.
Cancer cells. What we do now is that we do not create any environment, any prerequisites that allow the cancer cells to develop, right?
Well-
such as the United States society. As United States society, if you take 100% of population, put it on a chart,
Okay.
you will find in a corner somewhere some bad guys remain.
We have a lot of bad guys in
Yeah.
America.
All right. Good. I agree.
Very bad.
I agree. Bad guys are
Very
remain.
bad.
However, they
Evil.
however they are minorities. Am I right?
Well, it's not a majority, yes.
It is not a majority.
Right.
It is a minority.
Right.
It is a very, very, very small majority. It's a rare majority.
It's not as small as it used to be.
Okay, now,
Because the education
as a
system
society,
creates
as
evil.
a society, our job is not to recognize the problem. Our job is to recognize the problem, however, do not provide any conditions or create any environment to let the bad elements explode.
Perfection is impossible, Jack.
All right.
Because we're human.
Yes, sir. It's talking about profession.
Yeah.
Let's start another segment.
Yeah.
We take a break and we'll come back talking about profession.
Senator Brown stands for humanity. We have to continue to work on it now. My name is Paul James. I host English News every morning.
And the Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audiences. Thank you for watching, and please continue watch. I believe that me and my team are working very hard every single minute to bring information to you. I believe the positive information. Speaking of my friend Colin Hamming, however hard I argue with him, however hard I hit on the head of him, he can do the same thing on me. And after which we remain as friendly as ever. That's been tested for all these years of ever since I became a show host.
We're friends forever, Jack.
We're friends
And I'm
forever.
honored to know you.
Yeah. However, I'll keep pounding you.
I love it.
Very lovely. Okay.
I live for abuse.
Okay. You mentioned profession.
Well, perfection. See,
Perfection.
there will be things.
Perfection and profession. How
Well,
about that?
Well, okay. I'm not sure what you mean.
What
profession.
I'm leading to
Okay.
is exactly by following my same philosophy
Okay.
that the bad elements remains in a corner as a minority.
Yes.
All right?
They exist
Okay,
in
now,
everything.
When we talk about profession, police officers are the
professionals.
profession,
Right.
professionism.
Yeah.
Right? Police officers are the most required professionalism that they need to be taken only by the very best guys and girls.
Well, yes, but now,
The very, very best
Yeah.
human being.
yeah.
Do you think, answer me my question honestly as a brother
Yeah.
of same mother?
Yeah.
All right, now, Do you think it is necessary, starting point one at the time of recruiting,
Okay.
you pick up the good guys with a thorough ground check?
Well, they do. I mean,
With a thorough, with a thorough background check.
Well, you know, it's very hard to get into the police academies, Jack. It's very hard, just like in the fire academies. It's so hard to get into those jobs.
I believe that guy who killed Floyd was from police academy.
Well, that's okay because mistakes happen. Okay,
That's not okay.
I'm a CPA. There's bad CPAs. Okay, they still got their designation.
I
So
know.
you're not going to have any vetting process that
Okay.
will be
Now,
purely
Do
successful.
you agree with me with a basic philosophy that we should be careful starting ground one at the time of recruiting?
And they are. They're very careful. I've been to
Do you-
the police
tell me,
academy.
Do you do or do not agree with me?
I know a lot of police, Jack. Yes, of course.
Yeah, you do, right?
Of course.
You do agree with me that we start with the very beginning, step one, on the ground one,
Yeah.
to pick up the good guys.
It's hard to become a police officer.
right?
Yes.
It's hard to become one.
It is.
Right. Once you become one, you get the best paid, you get the best paid, you get the best
Well, it's
benefit.
not the best paid, but
and
it's
you get the
good
best
paid.
paid.
Yeah.
You get reasonably paid. How about that?
Yeah, you could reasonably, yeah,
Reasonably
decently paid.
reasonable,
with-
good benefit because you run your own life into risk.
Right.
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 But that's the
Well,
that's
that's
the
true.
job. And also morally, you have to be trained that you are the one running to the opposite directions where everybody is running when there is a danger. Am I right?
They're beautiful.
Yeah, they're beautiful
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
But in the process, as long as you confirm with me at the time of recruiting, some mistake was made.
Not at
I'm
the time.
okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, but it wasn't made at the time. This person, any person,
No, this
can
person,
evolve.
this
Jack.
person has well.
No, we
I
don't
heard
know
lots
that.
of comments.
Yeah.
I heard all the, and the past 2 days, I even consulted some psychologists
Okay.
about this wrongdoing, about the manner of the very cop.
Okay.
He said, and both of them confirmed, that's a character problem.
Jack, he turned.
That
in-
was a character problem.
course.
Inside this person, he has a dark character. He enjoys killing.
But no, that I will totally disallow. He does not enjoy killing. Okay.
He did.
Well, okay, so we disagree eternally on that. Very
Yeah.
few people enjoy killing, and I don't think he intended to kill him, but he certainly was a fool. And he's going to pay the price. He'll be in prison for the rest of his life. Now, the other three guys that were standing around, they're now being charged with
The
something.
price is too big. He cannot pay. If he had 100 lives to stay in
Well,
jail, he
what-
would not pay.
well,
Now we have rioting in 25 major cities, and we have rioting in Australia. We have rioting in New Zealand, in Europe,
yeah.
in London, everywhere. That is the price he not ever pay.
Let me just say this. Everybody likes to play the race card. That's what's going on. But now, right here, Rodney King would agree with this, and Floyd's brother would agree with this, that these rioters, these Antifa people, these radical leftists are dishonoring this gentleman that died because he would not have wanted that kind of violence. So they're basically, number one, 90% of these people that are rioting, they don't even remember the guy's name. They're not rioting in his honor. They're rioting in his dishonor. And everybody agrees with that. It's it's dishonorable
Wrong.
what they're doing.
Totally wrong.
Oh,
not
no,
only
no.
in the United States
No.
of America.
I don't care.
People remember the name of George Floyd. In Australia last night, in Sydney,
Yeah.
last night,
Yeah.
they had a vigil with the zillions of candles from a name of George Floyd. Only helicopters can see.
All right. Okay. Jack, I don't know why they're doing it. That's a waste of
They
their
are
time
doing
over
it
there.
to commemorate in the human race there had happened such tragedy.
Well,
this
Jack-
person is not supposed to die. He's a human being.
Well, Jack, people die every day.
No,
Many
no, no,
die
no.
violently
People
every day.
die every day, not in such a violent way.
Yes, they do.
Not in
look
such
at
a
the
merciless
look
way.
Look at the murders in America. Look at the
No,
the
no.
violence.
Hey,
They're all
once again,
that.
my brother.
Yeah.
I come down on my knees to
Yeah.
beg you: do not shake the ground. Okay.
Well,
People
it's-
die in war times at gunfire. Now, that day George Floyd died, it was not a war time. There was not a war. All right?
We are in a civil war.
No.
We are.
Again, you're shifting. I have to shut down the show if you keep shifting.
Well-
if you keep shifting ground, I'm talking step by step. That day was not a war.
Okay, but now, do you realize he did?
People die
Yeah.
heavily or tremendously because of dizziness.
now nothing-
because of disease.
Now, nothing condones what happened, but do you realize he had just committed a crime?
Yes, a crime of $20. That's it.
Okay, I know.
A crime of $20 deserve a execution
No, it
on the
doesn't.
ground.
It doesn't.
You're
But-
telling me?
No, it doesn't. But it was okay.
No,
it was
crime
a crime.
was a crime.
And the person that got
Crime,
the $20
crime was
called
crime.
the cops.
Crime can be handled, can be dealt in a justice way.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
Jack, I think
not
you-
not the execution
I hope-
on the ground.
I hope you put as much energy into demeaning the rioters and the looters that are shooting
Yeah,
cops
I'll
in
talk
the
about
head.
that later. I'll talk about it later.
It's a short
And
show.
You because we agreed that in the very beginning they would call spade a spade.
Okay.
Orange and orange, and apples and apple.
The bottom
How
line
about
is
that?
it's in the
How about
justice
that's
system
spade,
now.
orange and an apple. Let's talk about it. You tell me.
Yeah.
Did George Floyd die in a common cause?
No, and the person that was on his neck will spend the rest of his life in prison, and he'll probably be killed in prison.
No. Tell me
He'll
the other
be
way.
Killed in prison.
Tell me the other way.
There is no other way.
Let's let you and me put ourselves in the shoes of George Floyd. All right.
I like my shoes. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Was he deserve to die?
No, of course not.
All right.
Nobody deserves to die violently.
Could he breathe?
Well, it was asphyxiation because of the knee was on his throat.
You only give it a different name.
Well, that's
You
what
can-
it is.
You can call it strangle. You can call it strangle. The only difference is that you don't use a rope. You use
Jack,
use a knee.
The death certificate will show it was from asphyxiation from the knee on the breathing apparatus. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
of
what
course.
it. So that is
Of
the
course.
cause of death.
Yeah, of course.
And the thing is, see, the one thing you haven't mentioned, which I'm shocked at, is my understanding he was already handcuffed.
Yes.
So why would you do that?
Yes.
You don't
Yes.
even need to touch him.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You finally you come to my way.
No, I've always been.
I'm talking about a person
Yeah.
not armed,
He was already
Handcuffed.
Now he did.
already down on the ground.
Right.
Right.
He had resisted arrest, but it's still not worth
He had
that
resisted
happening.
arrest given the fact that
Yeah.
the moment he was on the ground, lying on the ground, with
he's not
with
gonna go
handcuffs
anywhere. Yeah.
handcuffs like that.
It was so. This
Why
is,
would anyone add a knee to kill him?
he's stupid cop.
If this person did not have an intention to kill him,
He didn't have an intention to kill him.
yes, he did.
No, I
Yes,
totally
he
disagree.
did. So did the 6 officers at the Fullerton, with the Fullerton that they killed Kelly Brown.
That's not. That's
I
just
know,
not
that's
true.
my way of taking it.
I know. That's
My
why.
way-
That's
Go
why.
check with Mr.
I don't need to check with anybody.
Bruce Whitaker.
I don't care about Bruce Whitaker. Okay.
All right. Anyway, my dear friend, I speak strongly. I believe I can stand tall strongly for the injustice, for the cruel way, brutality of policing over that incident. And in addition, I want to recognize it as a culture that's completely been wrong for the past several decades that I myself, I witnessed.
Totally
Only-
incorrect.
Okay, my friend,
Totally.
let's take a short moment out. We come back to continue.
We have to continue to work on it now. My name is Paul James. I host this news.
And the Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, lovely friends, ladies and gentlemen, my dear fellow Americans. I'm excited, and I know that I do not get excited for nothing. I'm talking about the fact that life can be taken away under broad sunlight. Like that, something is wrong. And something is wrong in the fact it was not only one officer acting such, there are 3 more of his fellow police officers doing so. And then the fact is that for somebody who dare to blatantly under broad sunlight to do it is not something wrong. If I rob a bank, I rob a bank at different times when people are not watching. So when I kill people, I want to kill people. I kill people not in front of people, right? But this person kills people in front of people. So when a city can make cops to kill people in front of people, the culture must be wrong. A culture is typically something not produced overnight. A culture is something that's been cultivated over a long time, a period of time. Right? That's my take. I would say clearly, this is my take, my personal take. It doesn't represent my show, my crew, my team, the firm of EDI whatsoever. I personally can stand for my own philosophy, for my own witness. All right, so that wraps up for the comment on the death of George Floyd. Like I said in the very beginning, with my dear friend, we agreed we call things by their true names. We want to call a spade, diamond a diamond.
Right.
Heart a heart, club a club.
Right.
Right? And we will call orange and apple, orange and orange, apple and apple. All right. Now, George Floyd may die. George Floyd may die in such a tragedy way. Let's flip that page over for the time being. Remember, mark my word, for the time being, something big is going to happen. You mark my word. Okay. Now, let's see the next page.
Well,
About the protests. All right. So, in the protest, what I want to say, the Constitution does allow the right of protest.
peaceful only.
Yeah.
Peaceful.
Yeah, you sometimes run ahead of
Okay.
myself to finish what I
Oh,
want to
okay.
say.
Well, that's we think alike.
Thank you. Thank you for being so fast.
Right. Yeah. I'm a
Right.
quickie.
So, the Constitution allows protest. However, the protest must be peaceful. Peaceful, reasonable protest, arranged with local authority, arranged with local law enforcement,
Right.
to provided the protest itself does not block traffic,
Oh yeah.
does not block pedestrians, does not take freedom, in other words, does not take freedom of others.
Right.
Right? Of course, it does not include the part of smashing windows,
I hope not.
right? Looting stores,
Shooting
robbing
cops.
business, shooting cops or being shot by cops.
No one was shot by a cop.
Oh yeah, sure.
No.
In Chicago, Chicago, police fired.
Okay. Well, maybe they had.
I got a friend of myself in Chicago, shot.
I had two.
by the bullets.
Okay, I had two uncles that were Chicago.
They called
cops.
me.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, so let's talk spade by spade. Never mix them. See, now once again you're mixing them.
It can be simplified into this very basic comment. A protest that is civilized and authorized is fine. A protest that becomes uncivilized is illegal.
All right. Good.
That's a simple
I agree.
definition.
I totally agree. I
Yeah.
totally agree.
And see, they said like, here you have people on the freeway, walking on the freeway, closing down a freeway, and then the announcers would say, well, that's a peaceful protest.
However-
it's not peaceful when you're
However,
blocking traffic.
we have been talking about in the big picture. There is a corner of bad guys, right?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
There's bad pastors.
Yeah,
There's bad.
Again, you're telling me there
Yeah.
are the bad guys are the majorities?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
And
among
they're
the
not in
protesters,
police.
among the protesters, you tell me, are the bad guys a minority or majority?
You know, it's hard to count, Jack. It's hard to count. No one's counting.
Tell me your feeling. Tell me your feeling.
I think
to be minority
okay, number
or
one, this organization called Antifa, which President Trump is going to declare a terrorist organization based on facts and activities. It traces all the way back to 1937 in Germany, okay, when the fascists were fighting the communists. But now they have found in all these cities that where there's bricks that are pre-placed before the protests, other objects that can be thrown at police and used to break windows, in different things that are articles for violence that are there. So that all of this violence that's really out of control was planned. And it's planned, a lot of it funded by George Soros.
Of course planned.
By George Soros, who's a billionaire who hates America.
Oh, no, that I don't know.
Well, I do.
That part of that I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, now, tell me this.
Yeah.
Okay, if you had to be a politician, or you are a politician, do you think that's an isolated event?
No.
Do you think that the event might have something
Something what?
behind it?
It does.
If there had not
See-
been George Floyd, would there be a riot?
This was going to happen. This is going to be a summer of a lot of violence because of the election coming up. The radical left that we have hating our president and trying to get socialists or worse elected to run our. If Trump loses, America will die. Because Biden now, who's the vice president candidate for president, he's been pushed over far left to all the way to very radical left. That he says, oh, cops have to be used. They have to be trained to shoot you in the leg.
Now
and not in the heart.
you're telling me,
It's so foolish.
you're telling me when there's a riot, there comes more suppression. Am I right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, now
Yeah.
let's follow
Civil liberties.
Let's follow the same logic.
Yeah.
When there is a more suppression, there is a more riot.
No, this one's going to tone down.
And then when there is
And
a
it
more
will come back.
When there is more riot, there is still more suppression.
Yeah.
And it goes on and on and on and on. It's elevated until to a time of a civil war. Do you think that's healthy?
No, and we're pretty close to that right now. Like, for example, the gentleman that passed away, his funeral will be in Houston next week, I think it is. And after that funeral, you watch, they're going to try to burn down part of Houston. And that's disrespecting the death. And it's very.
death of
but
who?
see, here's Floyd.
Yeah.
Here's what's real sad, because so you have people coming there from out of state and everything, Jack. Organized.
When we say the burning, we say cremation, right?
Oh, I don't know what he's. No. They're not going to cremate Houston. No. Let me just say. So you've got these people that.
Why
come,
burn? Burn who?
Well, let me. Rioting in Houston after you'll see it after the funeral. But what's happening? So you have people that are coming to these cities with most of them, all of them really, run by liberal Democratic mayors that don't use the proper force to keep the city safe.
I try to convince myself to come down.
Yeah, but just let me
And
finish
I
this
want
one.
you to do the same.
Let me
Right.
just finish.
I will
So
not
what
do it.
happens? So they come there, and then other people that are basically people that don't go that far.
Do you
Then,
agree-
well, then what happens? They start rioting, and people are greedy, so they start running into stores and looting stores. They didn't all come with the
answer
intention
me.
of looting. Yeah.
Do you agree with me that those bad things, planned or not planned,
Yeah,
was
both.
just had to have an excuse?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
death of George Floyd
Yeah.
had given an excuse to the occurrence.
Because he happened to be a lovely African American man. If it was just a white guy, there wouldn't be these riots because no one cares.
Once again, you're shifting ground.
But it's true.
The fact is that we have a black guy who died right now. We're talking about.
I understand.
Could be a black guy. Could be whoever. What if that if
Well,
does
wouldn't
not
be
stand?
whoever.
That's what if does not stand.
What-
We're talking about this is a black guy who died right there.
Okay.
Everybody saw the clip.
Yeah, of
do
course.
not argue. Do not do those kind of.
What if it was an Asian guy that was killed?
I'm not talking about what if.
Yeah. Well, you
I'm
have
not
to.
talking about what if. I am talking about this very instant. No what if to be added on top as a condition
Jack,
of the quality
Jack,
of the discussion.
Those terrorists were just waiting for an excuse.
That's why I'm
explode.
that's why I'm telling you, sorrowfully, very, very, very good. For unfortunately, the instant had given an excuse to the bad guy.
Of course, that's what I said. Yeah.
That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Asking you, do you agree with me that the instant was an excuse?
Yeah, they used it.
And you told me with the what if.
No.
That got me agitated.
Well, that's okay. Agitation is bad for the heart, though. So stay healthy.
Yeah, let's back to one.
But what's it totally dishonors the unfortunate evil death of this fine gentleman. And it's very, so they're looking, and there'll be more excuses, okay? Trust me. It's going to be a rough summer because everything.
Would that be a smarter way to stop making excuses? To stop excuses from ground one?
But
to
they
do
won't.
something thoroughly?
But
To
they
do
won't.
something for thoroughly as a reformation of the country's culture in policing to future stop
Jack,
those things from happening
Jack,
again.
It's not the police culture that did it. It's
It
our
is.
evil. It is wrong.
It
Totally,
is.
Totally incorrect.
All right.
It is the culture
Let's take
of
a
the
short
radical
moment
left
out.
in America.
All right, it looks that we have no agreement so far made here.
we have two.
Let's stop right away, and we come back after this short moment of break. Stay with us.
It's called James. English news.
And a Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, my dear friends, my lovely audience, ladies and gentlemen of the audiences, brothers, sisters of the United States citizen. Back to the discussion with my dear friend, Mr. Ken Hemming, who is quite a hero to come over here with me ever since the starting of the pandemic, even after the social distancing, stay home thing, and everything. He, in spite of that, he felt this as a post to fight together with me. Of course, sometimes we fight against each other.
Yeah, mostly together.
We enjoy both. All right.
Yes, we do.
All right. We just fought quite a war. Yet at the end of the war, decided we want to put differences away. We want to see some common ground. Common ground, the first being that we all cheer up when something good happens.
We keep waiting, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me something happens with the stock market, please.
Well, yeah. In fact, it's very hard to understand what's going on. But I think I kind of do. We were at 29,700. We went all the way back to 18,000. And today, Jack, we went over 26,000, up 400 and something today. When I left home, I don't know what it is now. But the whole thing is the stock market. It doesn't just react with emotions. It's a lot of it's controlled by computers right now. And as the number of deaths and the reopening of our economy, the number of deaths going down, the reopening of our economy, people going back to work. These companies, some of their stock that went way down, it's exploding again because they're going to start making money again. So it's very interesting. And no matter what negativity happens, the market and the psychology believes America will win in the long run. There is no greater country, in my opinion, to invest in. This is and there were fewer violent activities last night in the protest. That's positive. Nobody's even talking about the coronavirus anymore. You see those protesters, they're not exactly doing antisocial distancing. I call it antisocial distancing. And the only reason some of them are wearing a mask is so you can't recognize them when they're committing felonies. So the mask has nothing to do with the virus anymore out there. So it's real interesting. So the more bad things is we've got the economy that's been unbelievably challenged. We've got this rioting and looting and violence that's unprecedented, and then we've got the virus. So under three hugely negative things, we are recovering. We are recovering, and I do believe there will be therapeutics and a vaccine. There's some good vaccines being worked on. All you need is one that's going to help. And so the real good news is, I'm not sure that we know what we're doing with the virus, but what's happening, we're opening up. President Trump says he'll never close it down like he did again, because when we see hotspots, they're looking county by county around America every day. With a hotspot, we know how to take care of it now. Also, we know how to take care of our people in these rest homes and seniors citizen places, unlike New York that was putting COVID-19 people in there. And we had a lot of people die from that. Very, 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 very tragic, very tragic. But so we know how to fight little hotspots now. So so there's so much positive in like this. The second quarter will be terrible economically. Third quarter, we're starting the recovery back to prosperity. And then the fourth quarter, and if President Trump is reelected, next year should be on fire, okay? On fire economically and
yeah, sure.
in the world.
For the stock at the 26,000 level,
Yeah.
though, it all depends how you talk about, what you talk about.
Yeah.
Remember you and I when we first see the 26 number.
Oh yeah.
How excited,
on the way up.
How excited we were on the way up.
Yeah, thrilled to pieces.
Right? And still 26, of course, you cannot, you're not sure it's on the way down or on the way up.
Yeah.
However, it's number is number.
Well, if nothing else, we've gone from 18,000 to 26,000.
And yes,
during
you're
this
right,
presidency.
you're right. This whole thing is that we are back from the very bottom.
Yeah.
We're talking about from 18 to 26.
It's a 30-40% increase in the last 3.5 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's big.
That's a big thing. Like I said last time, the economy is like a furnace.
Okay.
Once you heat it up, when you heat it, the warmth, the
Yeah.
heat is inside.
Yeah.
It will not die away right away. And
Yeah,
next
it
time,
won't.
next time you light it, it goes up right away.
See, when we were at 3.5% unemployment, and the lowest for all groups of people historically, people are happy when they're working. People are happy when they have money to spend. They can go out to dinner. They can go buy a this, and then this tragedy of lockdown.
Yeah.
It will take a long time to recover.
Once again, from right now, somebody say 12.5, somebody even say 18.5.
For what? Unemployment rate?
Unemployment rate.
It'll be 20% this
even
month.
worse. Even 20%. All
will.
right. Okay. Now.
And then it'll shoot down.
Yeah. Now.
I believe.
Of course, it looks. I mean, even though in the fact it looks a hard job from 20 to go down to 3.5.
Yeah.
One thing I want to remind you that from the previous period, from 12.5 down to 3.5,
Right.
that took 3 years.
Right.
3 years of creating jobs,
Right.
of making jobs,
7 million new jobs. Yeah.
creating jobs of from nothing.
Right. Right.
Now the job
Innovation.
that had been created still there.
Yeah. In the
So
tragedy.
for these 20% to come back on way to 3.5 though,
Yeah.
you're not creating new jobs. You're going back to pick up the jobs.
Well, we'd love to get back to 5% if we can, by the end of the year. Because people will, but the tragedy is in the people I love more than anything are the small business owners, okay? Small business defined as 500 or less employees, but many 2 to 10 employees, okay, small businesses. And when their savings and their things have been wiped out and then now looted and burned in many cases, I mean, I don't know how they don't go insane, actually, and they are depressed. Suicide rates are way up, spousal abuse is way up, drug use, alcohol. We have a lot more people with tremendous problems that are very hard to deal with. So we just have to hope, Jack, hope and pray that we support each other. You know, if I know somebody that's kind of down, I was down, but I'm a strong person. But because I'm down with empathy for everybody.
Yes, of course. And the virus, on the virus front, though, we're talking about the vaccine and
right, and the therapeutics, which
new medicine showing some kind of hopes, right?
There's a lot of hopes because actually in July, one of the potential vaccines is going into stage 3, which is human testing, and even Dr. Fauci, who I disagree with about a lot of what he's done, thinks that we could have 100 million doses of vaccine by the end of this year, if this proves positive. So there's a lot of good things, and now they don't even talk about the virus on the TV anymore. All they talk about is it's Trump's fault that everything happened. You know, that's all they talk about. So this is good. But and then I live in Pasadena. That was on curfew these last 2 days. Where there were no cars driving around at night.
Yeah,
none. And the grocery store that I go, Ralph's, I mean, it was boarded up. I said, "Oh, you guys you need a couple armed guards out here." They didn't think.
Wait, for the past
it's
few
what they
days, we're
need.
suffering additional blow.
Yeah.
Because of the curfew.
Yeah, that's right.
Curfew.
Yeah.
However, that's
Yeah.
going to be temporary.
Yeah, it
that's
should
going to
be-
be very short time.
Should be over.
And today they're going to curfew again.
That I don't know. I talked to the city of Pasadena yesterday. The lady, information person, said it should be just a 2-day curfew if it's reasonably calm last night, and I don't know whether it was. I think it was. He said the curfew will be lifted.
Mm-hmm.
But also I said, if I'm driving someplace, am I going to get pulled over? She said, well, if you're going to someplace or going back home, they're not going to just pull you over by driving. But if you're walking down Colorado Boulevard with a hammer in your hand, they're going to talk to you. She said that. That's exactly what she said.
Okay, all
which
right,
I thought was good.
And I learned from the curfew alert,
Yeah.
saying that those work from or to work,
Yeah.
from to home,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
reporters,
Yeah.
right, with a credential,
Yeah.
those are exempted.
Yeah. And the dumbest thing in the world to me in New York City, that when they first put a curfew on, it started at 11 o'clock. Well, it's already been dark for 3 hours, and the violence is when it's dark. It's not really in the daylight.
That is.
That was really.
That's de Blasio's special way. His special way. He
he's
was the last
complete-
one to adopt the curfew. Well, of course, he did it differently.
Well, I won't say how far left he is, but he went to Cuba for his honeymoon.
Last thing of Donald Trump and Joe Biden. So there's a little fluctuation really in approval rate, right?
Well, right now, of Republicans, 76% are very enthusiastic and supportive of President Trump. The Democrat for Biden, it was 49%, and I think that's higher than it really is. You know, I'm not demeaning him. He's just not very exciting, and he's not sharp, and he's not charismatic. He talks in a monotone, and he says some things that are, so I don't know what's going to happen. Now with this last incident with in Minnesota, he's almost forced to take a black woman for the vice presidential candidate because and I don't think it's going to help any. And there's only two of them.
And he proposed when the officer has to shoot on the legs, remember?
Well, and that's so stupid. I mean, are you kidding me? When someone's trying to kill you, you don't shoot their finger. And a leg's a lot.
You mean such as Floyd? Was Floyd shooting at an officer?
Jack, that's a different deal. I'm talking about I know probably if Biden had his dream, cops wouldn't even have guns, and then only the bad guys that have guns. But anyway, we need law and order, and the only way you enforce it is by able for police to protect themselves. So, I mean, some of these things they're talking about are just so retarded economically. free this, free this, free that. Nothing's free. Somebody has to pay for it. So they want to take, they just want to redistribute the wealth on an unearned basis. And there was one guy, I forget his name. He's a black leader, a good guy, sort of, but he wants reparations for the past slavery of $359,000 to every black person in America. That's $14 trillion. It can't happen. I mean, it's just ridiculous. We're 10 generations away from slavery, and it's interesting.
I'm very sorry. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to address on what you just pushed forward.
Oh, we can do
it sounds like another big issue that we can talk about. My dear friend, I really exhausted myself in arguing over the issues.
Nap time.
And I really want to make it next time. However, I really appreciate the fact that I have somebody to argue with, which is a privilege, I would say.
It's an honor to be here.
Case, right.
I love your viewers so
much. My honor
much.
to have a friend list devoted, and my audiences, thank you very much for watching. And to my crew, thank you very much.
Yes.
And Ken Hemming, thank you very much.
Jack, love to you, love to all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.